top 10 best manhwa set in Murim world, in case you don't know what Murim is. It is a world of martial arts in Korean culture. So, let me give you 10 Murim manhwa with powerful main characters. Those legendary guys who seek to flatten mountains and rivers, swallow the sun, and break the void. These stories come with unparalleled powers and skills, along with beautifully well-illustrated world elements. Do note that these recommendations are not ranked and most of them are ongoing manhwa. Our first recommendation is Sword Fanatic Wanders Through the Night. This manhwa follows the story of the main character Jin Sohan. As a child, he grew up following a sword dance troupe. However, he was kidnapped one day by the Venom Demon, who is one of the Peerless experts in the Murim. He was meticulously taught by the Venom Demon and his brother, who took him in as their disciple. After a few years of training under his two masters, he returned to the town where the sword troupe resides, only to find out that they were decimated by a nearby sect, turning his expectations of a heartwarming reunion into a cold-blooded quest for revenge. Being the student of the Venom Demon that he is, he did not hesitate to use poison and any other means to ruthlessly kill his enemies. If you are a fan of the Legend of the Northern Blade, then this manhwa with a crazily powerful and cold-blooded MC is for you. The artwork is out of this world and perfectly complements the story. Next, we have Tales of a Shining Sword. In a world where strength reigns supreme, nothing is lonelier and boring than being overpowered and chosen as a king. Set in a prehistoric fantasy world where cultivators and yakais exist in different realms, our main character, who kept beating up anyone who disturbed their fox clan, finds himself becoming the king of the yakai realm after defeating opponents from mighty clans, such as the Dragon Clan and the Tiger Clan. However, his lonely and boring life started being filled with joy and overwhelming sadness when he came into contact with human beings. This is a fairly incredible Murim manhwa to read in 2023, though the author mixed a lot of elements from Korean cultivation mythologies and Japanese mythologies, making this manhwa quite special. So, do check it out. Next, we have Chronicles of the Martial God's Return. This manhwa follows the story of our protagonist Dan Woo-hyun. He was sealed away by a group of immortals after they deemed him too powerful for the world to handle. After 1,000 years, the seal weakened and he broke free. He soon finds himself aimlessly wandering around as he has nowhere to call home or anyone to return to. This made him feel like his existence was meaningless, comparable to an old vessel that did not belong to the current era, as everything seemed to have changed. But just as he was about to give up, a little beggar appeared before him and offered him a dumpling. This was the first act of kindness he had received in a long time, and it gave him the courage to continue to look for more out of life. This is probably one of the most underrated Murim manhwa with a crazily overpowered main character. Next, we have Tale of a Scribe Who Retires to the Countryside. This manhwa follows the story of our protagonist, a scholar who failed the national exams and gets kidnapped by a peerless martial arts master. The martial master then gave him the task of recording his life into a book after being impressed by the MC, and so our main character's journey through the Murim world began. Along the way, he meets tons of great people and ends up following in the footsteps of the peerless martial master, becoming a martial arts expert. When I started reading this manhwa, it got me glued at the beginning because of its comedy, but as the story progressed, it became more and more captivating with its fairy tale-like vibes. Though the fight scenes of this manhwa are not off the chart like the best ones out there, I highly recommend reading this manhwa. Next, we have Records of the Demonic Path's Return. Are you a fan of Nanomachine or Reborn Heavenly Demon manhwa? Then you will love this one. In this manhwa, our MC is one of the young masters of the Heavenly Demon cult. Unlike his siblings, he was not interested in becoming the next cult leader. All he cared about was literature, so he withdrew himself from the selection for the next cult leader and went into seclusion, where he continued to pursue literature for years. However, once the next cult leader was chosen, his brother killed all his siblings, including our MC, even though he had already been in a remote corner of the cult without any interference. I must say that the MC is quite naive to think that he can survive in a place like the Heavenly Demon cult without seeking power. Thankfully, he got a second chance and regressed to when he was still a child. Now, he is dead set on defeating his brothers and avoiding the future tragedy. This manhwa is quite awesome, as it will keep you glued from chapter to chapter. Next, we have Skeleton Warrior. What would you do if you found an incredible amount of gold, and if you felt a subtle sense of danger attached to the colossal amount of gold? This manhwa follows the story of a salaryman who is transported into a fantasy world after his death. He is given a second chance at life in a skeleton body and decides to explore this new world. Along the way, he meets various characters and embarks on many adventures. What made me like this manhwa is the fact that the main character is not the only transmigrator here. It is a mix of pure Murim-based manhwa and dungeon-based skill systems. The artwork is nice and excellently complements the storyline, so do check it out. Next, we have Peerless Dad. The storyline, plot, action, and character building of this manhwa are off the charts. Ever read a manhwa and instantly want to be a better version of your current pathetic self? No, because you have grade B taste in manhwa. Our MC shows us the difficulties of being an only father with 3 kids, while doing his fatherly duties. And by duties I mean going on missions so far from home, never knowing if he would ever return to see his kids. So many events in this manhwa will take you outside of this world and bring you back to reality. The action in this manhwa cannot be compared because of its amazing art style. Warning: this manhwa is not for everybody, only for those who appreciate men and what it means to be a man. Next, we have Chronicles of Demon Faction. The Righteous Alliance trained our main character as an assassin in this manhwa. After many years of slaving and killing people for the Alliance, he was betrayed by them when he wanted to retire peacefully. After being chased and killed by the Alliance, he gets a second chance by reincarnating in the body of the third young master of the heavenly demon cult. Now, he is set on another adventure to seek freedom once more, but can he achieve freedom amidst these human demons? This manhwa is quite interesting and it is sure to keep you glued from chapters to chapters. Coming next, we have Legend of Ashura. This is another crazy revenge manhwa that is much more intense than the last two. In this manhwa, our little MC was the only one who survived after the annihilation of the small medicine sect he was part of. Thankfully, he was thought by almost everyone in his sect, therefore after he escaped death, it could be said that the heritage of his sect was preserved through him. After some years of hellish training, he finally returned to take his revenge on the alliance of big sects. This manhwa is fairly old, but it has an incredible artwork and good storyline. Lastly, we have Chronicles of Heavenly Demon. This is another insane revenge manhwa not to miss. Our MC in this manhwa and his master got killed unjustly. He and his master are members of the Spear Master sect. This sect can only have 2 people max because of their overpowered spearmanship. After they were killed, the artifact of their sect sent his soul out and he was reincarnated in the body of a small boy. This boy was currently undergoing training under the demonic cult. Our MC laid low and practiced hard to get his revenge. This was the very first Murim Manhwa that I read, so I highly recommend it because without it catching my attention, I would probably not be reading Murim Manhwa. If this video reaches 200 likes, I'll do part 2. But before talking about that, let me know in the comments section what kind of recommendation videos you would love to see on our channel. Peace out.